tell us a little bit about yourself for people that don't know you.
Okay.
You know, what you do. I did post your bio on my page, but it would be nice if you could actually tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, before I get in that, I would like to say thank you for even having me on here. I am immensely flattered and honored. I've been excited about this all week. I'm Ian Harris. I am a technologist. I'm a web developer, app developer. It's kind of pretentious when you say you're a community activist. It's kind of hard to give yourself that label.
Well, I don't think so, because we see what you've been doing in the community, which was what really got me to get you on the show, quite honestly.
Okay, well, I fear this come across pretentious. However, I have very strong ties in the community and a very strong passion for the South Bronx and New York as a whole. I run a nonprofit called the South Bronx Resource Center. Our whole aim is connecting resources with the people who need them, especially in the South Bronx. And I love connecting with dope people such as Obi.
Right, I love connecting with dope people like you too.
Oh, you're too kind.
Thanks to the young lady that actually introduced us via, Instagram, Lakeisha. Yes. I did tag her on the post, but I don't think she actually checks Instagram that much.
She is so busy. She responded on Facebook, but she's busy saving the world, writing books, speaking at conferences.
Yes, she is. She is. So I'm going to get into the topics that we have today. We have a lot to talk about. I'm looking at my notes here. So the first one I really want to get into is a few days ago, we found out that the Trump administration or the Trump campaign, Paul Manafort, he's now a convicted felon, lied to the FBI and is in breach of his plea agreement. Also this week, Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, pled guilty to lying to Congress and about Trump's real estate projects in Russia. How do you think this really is going to help Mueller's investigation?
Mueller's investigation is interesting in many ways. First and foremost, we have a new attorney general or acting attorney general, Mr. Whitaker. One of the AG's role is actually determining how much funds, the discretionary funds, the independent prosecutor or Mr. Mueller has.
Right.
He actually has the ability to limit funding to the point that the investigation could be completely canceled. Not on paper, but if you don't have any money to run the investigation, you're not going to run the investigation.
Exactly.
You and I both know, as all those locked in know, there is a myriad of evidence against Donald Trump and numerous transgressions. Mm-hmm. Even before Manafort, even before Cohen, we knew about his collusion with Russia. We knew about him lying about certain things. Matter of fact, you can probably tune into Trump right now and catch him in a lie.
Right, right.
So, yes, this is absolutely damning. Yes, it is. However, if we notice one thing, the occupier of the White House, I don't like using his name,
I hear you,
has proven to basically skate on a lot of things. So if what's already happened is any indication of what's to come, it may not be as damning as we think. He's gotten away with a lot. He got away with many transgressions even before getting elected, and not away because I didn't vote for him, but he was still elected. So just because
even in the face of all this evidence and him now really admitting that, to what his attorney said, you still think he can get away with everything that he's been lying about?
Allow me to state this. I don't think he can get away. I don't think he should get away. However, if you control the person who's running the investigation against you, yes, he can present a really great case. It's just a matter of him getting there, and I'm nervous about him getting there.
Right, right. So, and also the people that are watching, please feel free to chime in. That's really what this whole show on platform is about. We really want you to chime in. We really want to hear your thoughts on any topic that we bring up tonight. Now, let's really get into really the one I really want to talk about is Mississippi. This week, I know, right? So, this week we saw what happened in Mississippi. Cindy Hyde Smith got elected after joking about being able to appear at a public hearing if given the opportunity to do so. And Mississippi, we all know that is a state that there was a lot of lynching, of Black people historically, and during those times they had white people come to actually be spectators, and she didn't think that her joke was offensive. What is your take on Mississippi? How backwards are they now at this point? It's scary.
Oh, that's multifaceted. Number one, I don't believe this was a Freudian slip. I don't believe that this was a joke.
Yeah.
Years ago, I heard, be careful what people say. The first thing that comes out of someone's mouth is normally what they mean. And then they tend to backpedal by saying it's a joke. And I noticed the air quotes.
Yeah.
That definitely wasn't a joke.
Right.
When you choose elected officials, they're intended to represent you.
Right.
So you elect people who speak like you, who think like you, who do things that are in your interest. So if you use that formula and you use that logic, if she was elected by a majority, because obviously that's how elections work, she was elected by a majority, then it's safe to say that a majority of people don't find her comments to be inflammatory, and they are indeed inflammatory.
Yeah.
But as you said before, Mississippi has been a linchpin, a haven for racism and hate, malicious intent. I'm 32 years old. One of the first things I learned about is be careful about going down south. I'm a 32-year-old man who was raised in New York. Now I've spent time down south. I'm actually in Atlanta currently.
Oh, okay.
We have an Atlanta offices. I'm actually in Atlanta currently. So the South is much different than it is up north. As a Black man, I'm very careful about driving at night. Being in areas that aren't as lit or aren't as densely populated. And Atlanta's very progressive. Now you get to states such as South Carolina, that's another story.
Right.
Mississippi is notorious. I know many people who actually try to stay away from Mississippi due to the history and even the current climate. We have a senator who thinks it's okay to laugh and make jokes
about lynching. Yeah.
There's nothing nice about lynching whatsoever. And that's a statement.
Right, definitely. And I wish I could talk to someone in Mississippi just to find, like a Black person in Mississippi, just to really find out what their take is on this and really what life is going to be for them moving forward. I mean, it's going to be something that they're not used to, but it doesn't mean that it is okay to be complacent and live in those kind of situations, or,
I don't know if it's complacency. If you look at the numbers, we saw the turnout. Obviously, African Americans voted in their best interest. They didn't vote for her.
Right.
And if they live in Mississippi, they're used to this. But they did lend their voice. The whole point of the voting model is I'm going to cast my voice, and hopefully that enough people that align with me to vote in the person that best suits my interests. My heart goes out to them. It's very disheartening. It's actually a microcosm of the 2016 election. Many of us voted for Hillary, and our hearts collectively broke when she lost.
Right.
So I can imagine that be the same case when the special election came in. Now the funny thing is, her opponent earlier today petitioned to run in 2020 because of the special election. So she only serves until the end of the term.
Right.
She has to run again.
Right.
He already petitioned. He said, "I'm going to do this again."
Okay, good. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
It happened earlier today.
Okay, that's good. So speaking of, running and people running for office, are there any, Democrats in office that you currently think that could actually run against Trump and win in 2020? We have John Kerry, I think, is kind of toying around with the idea. Cory Booker is turning around with the idea as well. What are your thoughts? Is there anybody out there that you think can actually, for right now?
It's funny that we knew Cory was going to run. We knew Cory was going to run during the Brett Kavanaugh nominations. Same thing with Kamala Harris. John Kerry is very interesting. I didn't think he would throw his hat in the race, given the fact that he went through it. Was it about 12 years ago now?
Is it? Yeah, it's been that long. Yeah,
about 14 actually. About 14 years ago now, because he ran. As we know, he ran against Bush second term.
Right.
So that was 2004. So
Mm-hmm.
that's 14 years. There's others. So this may be in left field. Beto O'Rourke just lost a highly
I
contested
know. I
race to
know.
Senator Ted Cruz.
I know.
Andrew Gillum just lost a highly contested race down in
Yeah.
Florida.
Right.
I think a great ticket would be Beta and Gillum.
Yeah.
They
You
both have
think?
notoriety. They both can raise money,
Yeah. We've
and they
seen
check
them
off
do
many
it. Yeah.
boxes.
Yeah.
I would love to see that ticket.
Huh. Okay. That'll
Like I
be a
said
good ticket.
it was left field, but
Yeah.
I would love to see that ticket.
Uncle Bernie's still thinking about coming back again.
I don't think Bernie would do that to himself. Now, one day we've learned about Bernie. Bernie's phenomenal raising money.
Yeah.
He is absolutely phenomenal raising money. Even his protege, Cortez Ocasio, who just won in the Bronx,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
he backed her, and she won, and she beat an incumbent, which no one saw coming.
Wow.
I don't think he would do it himself. Again, I'm going to cite his age, and I'm not age shaming him, but running is a lot, and I think at this time he's found his space. He is a voice of progressivism.
Yeah.
And I think he enjoys it there.
But if he does run, I do think he might win.
Well, he unified the party before.
Yeah.
And we know what happened with him and Hillary and the emails, and we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
If Bernie run, I'll be down for it. I just don't know if he was actually going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's switch gears a little bit to Daniel Hernandez, Tekashi 6ix9ine. He's had a rough year. We all know that. And on November 18th, I think the feds raided his house and they found AR-15 and an ID which belonged to a robbery victim, which happened back in May. He's been brought up on weapons and racketeering charges and all that crazy stuff, and he's possibly facing 30 years, and he's only 22 years old. What do you think? Because when you really look at his case, and the feds been following him since 2015.
Yes.
When you really look at his case, you can see that a pattern of really going on social media and showing off, trying to live a life that you really don't live. They're using his videos on YouTube against him. They're using social media, Instagram, Facebook against him. What message or how do you think is a possible way to reach the young people? Be like, look, you really don't need this kind of attention. What's going on? How can we steer the young people away from, putting themselves in those kind of situations?
Okay, before I answer that, I just like to say, Mr. 6ix9ine and Mr. Hernandez is not a microcosm of our youth today. He doesn't represent the norm. He is a misnomer. He is a anomaly. And thank God for that. We have to be more pragmatic. We were more pragmatic to know that our youth aren't him. They're not walking around with tattoos on their eyes and multicolored hair, doing all ridiculous things. However, he does things that mirror the activity of our youth. We do have to be very mindful about what we post.
Right.
But in dealing with young people, and I hate the term young people because that makes me sound really old. When we're dealing with our youth, or those who are under 25 or 21, we have to be mindful of telling them what not to do we're not offering alternatives. We can't say, don't do this and then walk away. Or, what's the word? Do this because I said so. Don't do this because I said so. You have to offer them an alternative. We like the instant gratification. I'm posting new shoes. Look at this. This is me. Or I'm posting a video behind a car on a Maybach and Aston Martin and a Mercedes. That's not mine, but I look glamorous. We have to ask, why are you doing this? What do you gain from this? Let's have a little conversation with them. What do you gain from this? Do your followers like this? What do you gain from having followers? What's the capital? What's the benefit? Is it monetary? Is it egotistical? Once we have that conversation, then we steer them in different directions. It's great.
And also talking to them about the fact that employers look at social media these days. If an employer is trying to hire you and your social media is private, they look at you really suspect. Like, why is your page private? Type of deal. And they will go back years to dig up stuff, depending on the kind of job you're going for. So What is your take on that? How is that like a good way to help to reach them?
Well, and it's funny, as I said, my background's in technology. I've been on the other end. I've been on the end of where you're investigating people. There's systems called such as the Twitter Wayback Machine. The Twitter Wayback Machine is a website where you go in, you pull in someone's Twitter handle, you type in a word, and it searches as long as that account's been alive. So we all know the 7 bad words and other words. So if you type that in, it will dig to see if you ever posted it and it's still alive.
Oh, wow.
Same thing with Facebook. There's actually developing technologies now that analyze Facebook accounts to determine what type of person it is. There's algorithms that determine what type of person this is based off what they post and what they don't post, even what they like.
Wow.
And on Instagram, we know if we like certain things, everyone can see it. We see a lot of married men getting in trouble for liking certain posts. You probably shouldn't like that.
Yeah.
So we just have to, we explain that to them. If you want a certain position in life, you want to get to a certain status in life, you have to be mindful, especially if you're a person of color. Because if you're a person of color, the odds are already stacked up against you.
Right.
We're giving them reasons not to hire us.
Right.
We need not give them ammunition. We need to give ourselves ammunition to obtain those positions. Not even just jobs, college applications too.
Right, definitely.
College admissions too. We have to be very mindful about what we post because they're looking. That's the best way to vet someone is by what they post on social media.
But it also seems that all of us, most of us, are guilty of almost being a slave to social media, depending on what you're using your social media platform for. So most of the younger people, if there is really there's some people that you cannot go out to eat with them without them. It's okay. Without them pulling out their phone to snap this or snap that type of a deal. So
guilty as charged because I take photos of my food.
It's okay, but I guess social media has become in such a way that it's almost like, what did we do without social media years ago? Now we're so addicted to it. So being in technology, do you have any tips to get people to wean themselves off of social media sometimes?
Yes. Download an app that monitors your screen, your activity.
Okay.
If you can actually see how long you spend on the app, Instagram does it, iPhone does this.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
You see how long you do. Now you know. Oh my goodness, I spend 6 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's in your mind. I have to pull back. Yeah. Also, don't be afraid to tell people. It comes with emails as well. And work, if you're professional, you rely on your emails. Don't be afraid to tell people, I'm only going to check my emails twice a day. Tell yourself, I'm only going to check social media during 4 to 5. I'm going to leave it alone during work. And if you write a schedule, and stick to it, that will help. It's going to take a while to wean yourself off. There have actually been studies that show that we have anxiety in regards to social media. If we leave our phone in another room, but we can't go, let's say we're having dinner. Even though the phone's not in a room, our mind is focusing on the phone in another room. Who's texting me? Who's posting me? Who's tagging me? Who's liking my posts?
Right.
That's become ingrained in who we are as people. So if we write schedules, I'm only going to do this X amount of hours a day, and we stick to it, that starts.
Yeah.
However, it's much easier said than done.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say, it's easy because I check my Instagram 4 or 5 times a day.
Right. Me too. Guilty as charged. So, we'll keep following Tekashi 6ix9ine story to see how that pans out. But it doesn't look like they're gonna let him go on this one.
Even now, they revoked his bail. They revoked the bail, and he may not face trial for a year.
Okay.
While they build the case, he may not face trial for a year. Obviously, he revoked his bail because he's a flight risk.
Yeah.
So hopefully, this serves to be an example to people. Certain things
you
shouldn't do.
Yeah, certain things you shouldn't post. And Teron is saying that social media is almost a necessary evil. I agree. Yes, I use my social media for the news with Obi type of stuff, but quite honestly, do I check it more than I should? Yes. Do I want to weed myself off of it? Yes. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about Amazon. A few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, actually, to be exact, I did post about the headquarters on Amazon. I said something like, why have one headquarters when you can have two? So now Bezos has a headquarters in Arlington, Virginia, in the DC area, and Long Island City. New Yorkers are really up in arms about this one. I do have a friend that lives in Long Island City, and I was talking to him about it yesterday. He was like, they're about to price me out of this place. So what is your take on that? Because they're not really bringing jobs. They are, from what I understand, they're bringing jobs they're bringing people from Seattle. So it's not that they're creating jobs per se in New York, not like the high tier jobs that people might want to apply for.
Yes and no, but I'll touch on that in a second. When we first found out they were going to Long Island City, many were shocked because Long Island City wasn't a finalist. It wasn't even on the list. They wanted to go to Brooklyn at first. So when they shot down Brooklyn, so we didn't know. I understand the state of New York offers many tax benefits and tax breaks for companies. I believe it's 10 years. So wow. I would say that appealed to them. Yeah. Infrastructure-wise, even before we talk about pricing people out, Long Island City is mostly serviced by the 7 line.
Right, which is crowded, isn't it?
As it is.
Right.
Now you're talking about bringing in how many thousand jobs? Upwards to, I want to say on the low end, 25,000.
25,000 jobs, yeah.
Let's say that. You're adding 25,000 more people on an overly crowded line to begin with, because you're not driving to Long Island City.
No, you're not.
The 7 line.
Right.
And it took them, you can't even say, well, add another train. It took them 6 years or 5 to 6 years
to build that
line. Extend the 7 from Times Square to the Javits Center.
Right.
Now, so that's not going to work. So that's number one. Number two, they are creating jobs. They're not creating maybe out of 60% new jobs. But think about the type of jobs they're at. I said, I'm in technology. I'm a web development app developer. They're developing app jobs, development jobs, data science jobs, very high-end jobs. Right. But in technology, and this is something I'm very passionate about, there's a disproportionate amount of people who aren't people of color in technology. The numbers break down to this: 67% white male, 7% African American, 6% Hispanic or Latino. So if you have these jobs, but we aren't in the industry to fill the jobs. Yeah. We're not going to take the job because we're just not in the industry to fill the jobs. That's why there are companies such as Girls Who Code, Black Coders. We're launching Bronx Coders, where we're giving people access to learn these technologies so they can apply for these jobs. Right. However, if they don't have access to learn or even have access or experience to get these jobs, they're not going to get them. So now you're going to have people coming from other areas of the city to work. Right. We've already discussed that the 7 line is going to be overly populated. Yeah. So now they're going to want to live closer to Long Island City. Right. Now, what are the areas that surround Long Island City? Parts of Queens, parts of Brooklyn, Harlem, and the South Bronx. Yeah. Now, what do these areas all have in common?
It's already populated.
They're densely populated with people of color.
Right.
So now these aides are going to come in. These property managers are going to say, "Well, I'm going to outprice you because you can raise prices in the lease." Exactly. Even if it's a rent control, the way around rent control is, if I own the building, I create a company, I sell the building to the company, rent control no longer applies.
I did not know that. Oh, yes. Okay.
That's how gentrification has been happening. So exactly. A lot of people are owning buildings. Rent control is grandfathered in. It no longer applies when the property changes hands. So if it's owned by a person, you make a company, you have the company buy it. Guess what? No longer rent controlled. Wow. So they're going to start doing things such as tactics such as that. Now, once you do that, oh, you can't afford it? Oh, we're so sorry. We know people who can. Exactly. And now gentrification is just going to magnify and intensify 10, 20, 40, 50, even 100-fold. Yeah. So, I mean, with the whole Amazon, I didn't know that Brooklyn was one of the places they were supposed to initially. Now, people didn't know that they were bringing it to Long Island City. Is there a way to stop Amazon right now? It's too late. It's too late. For a couple of reasons. One, New York wants this. The city wants this. Yeah. Many borough presidents, Ruben Diaz actually championed it for it to come to New York, so they're just happy that it's there. Because yes, you can tax it. Even if you're not taxing the company, you're taxing these $150,000 jobs. Right. So it is revenue. It is revenue for the state. Mm-hmm. So that's there. So they actually want this. There are other people such as us who really. Does Amazon have programs to train people of color or the historically disenfranchised on how to code? and how to get into and how to apply and get hired for these positions that they're opening up. Are they creating benefit programs? Are they
Is that
investing
is that something the city can propose to them?
It can. It absolutely can. You can say, hey, we demand this. We want you to fund classes.
Right.
And not just classes. There are things called boot camps. A boot camp is a 5 to 6 month program where you go in, if you have no background in technology whatsoever, and let's say web development or app development, you go in, you're doing 8 hours a day in a classroom setting, and you're going home doing 6 more hours at home and homework. And once you leave as a junior developer, and you can, with a starting salary upwards of $90,000 a year.
Oh wow!
There are for-profit boot camps such as Flatiron School, General Assembly, New York Academy, things of that nature. We're launching one for people of color where it doesn't cost. The other ones actually cost. If Amazon can partner with someone and offer these classes for free on a scholarship basis, that would help.
I hope somebody's bringing this up. You should. I mean, you are an advocate for the community. Can you pitch this?
That's one of the things we're bringing up. Yes.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Because I did not know that. Yeah, there was a lot I didn't know about this. So now it's making a lot of sense why people didn't think it's a good idea. Terrence, he just typed. He said, "Amazon scares me. Working in wireless, they've become a bigger competitor than other cell phone companies." What do you think about that?
Well, all right. So years ago, Walmart was the beast. When Walmart came into a town, it was notorious for shutting down all local businesses. Amazon scares Walmart.
Of course.
And then we all know about Amazon's qualms and issues. We know that a lot of people are fighting for fair wages and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime makes it easier. Amazon Prime is one of the reasons why I believe, this is conjecture, right, entities such as Toys R Us have shut down.
Yeah.
You can find it cheaper, you can have it delivered, and you don't have to leave your house.
Exactly. Convenient.
So it's a wonderful idea. It's built on convenience, but the problem is the more people that use it, the more money that's built into it, the more money you make, the more money you want to make.
Yeah.
In a capitalist society, it's normal to become, I don't want to use the term greedy, because we have the right to make as much money as humanly possible.
Yeah.
We have the right to have a business that's successful. I'm not.
And you have a right to be competitive. So
you do.
Yeah.
It's just that they grew to the point that they're buying everything.
Yeah.
So I do believe that regulation is going to come down from the government eventually, just to kind of calm them down. But right now, I agree with you. Amazon is scary. They do wonderful things, but I can understand why they're scary to some, such as moving to Long Island City and outpricing us in places that we live.
Yeah. And stores like Macy's are barely making it. I don't know how much longer Macy's is really. I hope they don't shut down, but they seem that they're struggling, really.
Well, you have to look at the model. The model is this: on top of buying the product and selling the product, you have to pay the brick and mortar cost. Macy's and 34th cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Then you have to pay staff. As opposed to an online version, an online model where you have a warehouse, you have customer service here and there, but you don't have to worry, and you pay for the warehouse, but the warehouse can be in Kansas, where it's $1 per square foot, as opposed to New York, where it's $150 per square foot. So those models are going to be very hard to maintain.
Yeah.
They're already hard to maintain, so in the future, it's going to be very hard to maintain. So we're going to see a lot of brick and mortar retailers, one, opt to do half online, half brick and mortar, or two, completely opt to do solely online.
Which Macy's is doing. I think their online is doing better than the actual stores itself. So, yeah. So, does anybody else in the viewing audience? Hi everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. If you have a question for Ian, please type it in. He's our advocate, our politician, the one that we really need to be behind him to push these kind of things that we're talking about Amazon and pitching these ideas so that it can help the community. That's really what we want to hear. So if you have any questions, feel free to type it in, like Teron has typed in a few questions. And in the meantime, I really wanted to ask you, Ian, what really got you into politics and advocacy and, of course, being a pastor as well?
Oh, well, so funny thing is I work for a church. I'm not originally from the Bronx. I'll admit this. I'm not a Bronx native. I adopted the Bronx, and the Bronx adopted me, and we love each other. I worked for a church a couple of years ago that was in the Castle Hill community, and they were wonderful. They're great. They're a great church, and the church was right near the Castle Hill projects down the block from Sound View, and I noticed that the footprint wasn't as big as I wanted it to be. The South Bronx, that subsection of the South Bronx is the poorest congressional district in the country,
Right.
in the entire country. That's because we have those housing complexes that actually lower the median income. We wanted to do certain things such as code drives and back to school drives. So I've reached out to local elected officials at the time, and their response was very disheartening. And we all hear the thing: be the change that you want, be the change that you want to see.
Right.
So after talking to a couple of people and having discussions, I said, well, I'm going to throw my name in the hat. I thought about running for city council. It was very late in the game. I knew nothing about politics. I'm a technologist and a preacher. I knew nothing about politics. So I got bounced around a little, got beat up a little. Said, okay, well, I learned about the process. I met a couple of people who taught me certain things. I said, I'm gonna regroup. I helped a couple of candidates with their process because I am a technologist. I've helped with social media campaigns, website campaigns, digital marketing, what people actually believe in. I actually do plan to run again in 2020 for New York State Senate. But in the interim, we're doing things such as, someone asked, how can we learn more about initiatives?
Yeah, I saw that. I wanted you to finish up and we can. But in the meantime, since you see the question, you can go ahead and address it.
Okay, well, you can follow me on Instagram. I feel bad about posting, advertising myself.
No, please plug yourself. That's what this is about. That's what the show is about.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Ian Harris NYC. And we post things, even now, on the 16th, we're having a toy and coat drive at the Mount Haven Bar and Grill. It's a concert at a wonderful establishment. Only thing we ask for admission is either a used coat or unwrapped toy. We give the coaster one warm coat, and we give the Toys for Tots. Then moving forward, we're actually in the summer, we're launching a summer camp, a coding camp for kids, middle-aged kids from 12 to 15. Now, summer camps are really expensive, anywhere from $15 to $3,000 a year.
Right.
We're offering free of charge. It's going to be fully funded. And we're teaching kids how to code. So we're getting them in early so that when Amazon comes and they're ready to work.
Yeah, they have people to hire.
Exactly. And the main thing is that it's fully funded so it doesn't cost parents anything. And they leave with not only learning how to code, but we're giving them laptops to take with them.
Nice.
So those are the two big things we're doing right now. And in the future, again, you can follow me at Ian Harris NYC. We constantly do things. We're walking around now trying to sign people up for open enrollment. New York, now the country ride ends on December 15th. New York, the wonderful state that we live in, extends it to January 31st.
Oh, wow.
So we walk around, we give out information, we help people sign up. We give any questions, we give you a number, we will walk you through it personally.
And when we talk about open enrollment, although the Trump administration won't promote this, we're talking about Obamacare, right?
That's correct.
They will not promote this.
They will not. They actually took away from the budget.
Wow.
They took away from the budget. That's why. So there's two different dates. Federally, it ends on the 15th, but New York has its own arm that ends on the 31st. They actually call it Get Covered NYC. New York does a wonderful thing. So in the next
this is affordable for people that in between jobs, no job, real job.
Well, if you can talk about it for a couple of minutes.
Yes.
There's tiers. If you don't have a job, you'll fall into the Medicare. If you make under $24,000 a year as one person, which is no job or low end, $10 an hour, Medicare, and it's very low. Now, if you have a family, you make between 25 and 50. Don't quote me on the numbers, but if you're making the second tier, what they do is they subsidize what you they give you subsidies to pay for health insurance. So let's say the health plan is $800 a month. They may give you $550 towards that. So your out-of-pocket cost is only $250. Which is a big deal.
That's a big deal.
I say that as a cancer survivor. Healthcare is important. Healthcare will save your life.
It is.
So that's why we walk around in the blistering cold, getting people to sign up. You can go to sbrconline.org.
Yeah.
And we will help you. Call us. You may talk to me. I will walk you through. Even if it takes 3 hours, we will walk you through so you sign up. Because the problem is the website's kind of hard to navigate. Which is another thing we want to work on in the state. We want them to make the websites easier for people.
Yeah.
so they can actually utilize these resources, as opposed to right now, they get frustrated and walk away. Now these resources are underutilized.
Yeah. Obamacare saved my life when it first came out, so I totally understand what that is about.
We're in the same boat.
Yeah. And we have another question from Robin. You do a lot. How do you maintain your passion?
I've been homeless. I've been sick. I've seen people, and I have my own issues. I was helped out by many people. If we can help other people out, if even just one person, we take our time helping out one person, the work is better. I know that sounds really cliche, but the reason is I've been helped out, and I want to help out other people.
It's not cliche. A lot of people don't give back, even though they've, people have helped them. A lot of people don't give back. So I really commend you for even sharing that with us, this evening. So it says a lot about you. It says a lot about your dedication to the community and just the passion, because passion, if you don't have the passion, you can't really do half of what you really want to do. The passion is number one. It wakes you up in the morning. It makes you, it helps you go out in the cold to help the people out. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you, because
in the community.
You introduced, you gave me a platform to talk. So I'm immensely grateful. And even you were out on the streets on election day. You were out before I was. Yes, I was. Yeah, you were traveling. So somebody's asking. That's your question. Who you be helping? Because we all help everybody.
Yeah.
Signing people up for healthcare, warm coats, getting information. It's absolutely wonderful. Oh, question for you. To the host, you've done a great job curating this live. How can we support you and learn about your platforms? Yes. How can we learn about you? Because you're absolutely dope.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I actually, I do have a passion for this. My background is in communications. I moved to New York about 3.5 years ago to further my career in television. I used to work at a television station in the Washington, D.C. area before I moved.
Okay.
And I do remember this, and I'm gonna post. I did a talk about it. I'm gonna post a video about this. But when I was because I went to Howard University, so for my undergrad, AHU, So for my undergrad, I remember my teacher, I think it was my last semester in college, my teacher said to me that she didn't think I was gonna make it as a news reporter in front of the camera. And she was like, but you're very creative though. You can make it as a producer behind the camera. And this was like probably a few months before graduating. And at this point, I'm young, I'm confused. I'm like, wow. She was like, I asked her why. She said, because you have a speech impediment. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you have a speech impediment. So she sent me to the school speech therapist, because Howard has all the different schools. So
the speech pathology areas.
Right. So she sent me to the pathology people, and they had me read a whole bunch of stuff. And the guy was like, wait, hold on. Who sent you here? I'm like, well, my teacher did. He was like, well, I don't know why she sent you here, because you enunciate all your words. I don't know what the problem is. So he sent me back with a note to the teacher. So I got back to the teacher. She was like, well, it has to be your accent. It has to be your accent. So I don't think you're going to make it in television. So you know what that did to me at the time? I shied away from applying to any jobs. After I graduated for 3 years, I did not apply to any TV stations, nothing. And I wish I had somebody in my life at the time that could have said, what are you doing? You could have, So because of that, I decided to, join like organizations such as the African Immigrant Caucus to help with talking to the youth, getting them to be like, okay, yeah, even though you get this no, because I'm first generation Nigerian American, and and there's nothing wrong with this, but when Africans come to the U.S., they go straight into nursing, and there's nothing wrong with being a nurse, right? So, but
they save lives.
It saves lives, right? So, but the thing is, once you get into nursing school, you can easily get a job when you finish. So, when I was into this whole communication thing, my whole family was like, "What are you doing?" It's like, you're not going to law school, you're not going to medical school, you're not going to nursing school, you're not a pharmacist. What are you doing communication? So it was like, okay, it didn't make sense. So I didn't have anybody at the time. So long story short, to answer your question, Robin, I do this because I have a passion for it. I do it because it makes me happy, really. This is, what I'm doing right now, talking, creating platforms for people, is where I find my happy place. When I wake up in the morning, before I do anything else, before I go to my real 9 to 5 and do research news stories, write about it, and do videos and post it, is where I find my happy place. So as far as support, just you being here today is support for me.
Well, follow her. She's a dope follow. And she's a dope work. I'm upset at your professor.
And she's a Black woman too. So yeah.
Oh no. Well, if you don't mind. So funny thing.
I'm not gonna say names.
No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna. You can inbox that to me later. No. Number one, I actually have a speech impediment. I have a lisp. It's not an issue. You speak over it. So the funny thing is, not to get too spiritual, Moses had a speech impediment. Moses' job was to lead the children of Israel up, and he's like, I have a stutter.
Yeah.
Didn't stop him. But you have none of this. So why would she even offer that, posit that to you? That's very upsetting. She should have encouraged you. So okay, you have an accent. So what? People have accents. Trevor Noah has an accent.
Right.
People tune in at 11 p.m. I'm tuning in. Well, it's Friday. I can't tune in. But I tune in Monday through Thursdays at 11 p.m. and watch a South African immigrant talk about our country.
Right. So, and thank you, Robin. Thank you for being here. You being here inspires me too. So, there's nothing wrong, especially in the Trump era. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with having an accent. But that was just her whole thing at the time. And again, I can't beat myself up. I don't beat myself up anymore about why I let that stop me. So that's why I created my own platform, to be quite honest with you. I got tired of applying to CNNs, all those places. I'm like, you know what? If I do what I need to do, they will find me, right? If they need to, So my whole thing is now, creating this digital platform, and people have been gravitating towards it, and I'm really grateful. So your support means a lot to me. And if you know anybody in the community that gives back to the community and doing dope stuff in the community, even if it's any of you watching, please reach out to me. I'll be glad to have you on the show so we can talk about what you do.
Absolutely. This is a great show. I'm internally grateful and honored and flattered.
Thank you. I know it's very last minute when I reached out to you, but thank you for, being quick with sending me all the information that I needed.
Oh, no, it was fine. Actually, people don't know this, but we were actually supposed to meet on Election Day.
Yes, we were. Yeah.
Okay. So you were actually at a polling place that I was actually going to.
Yeah.
And I got caught up in traffic because New York traffic is horrible. Traffic before Amazon.
Right. Oh my God. Yes. Traffic after Amazon is not going to be pretty either.
Okay,
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
it's interesting, but again, I cheer for you.
I'm cheering for you too. So
Thank you.
Yeah. So for anybody that misses the show, I am gonna post this whole thing on YouTube in a few days, and I'm gonna post like a little clip of it on my Instagram and Facebook page. The News with Obi, that's all the Instagram handles, and on YouTube it's gonna be on the News with Obi. So Ian, if you wanna share this later on, it will be available.
Absolutely.
The whole show will be available to share for people to watch.
Absolutely. I'm posting it.
All right.
I got to talk with Obi. I feel special.
No, you're doing great things, and thank you for all the insight you've created, and thank you to everyone for tuning in, taking time out of your busy schedule on a Friday evening to tune in. Thank you so much, and thank you, Ian. We'll definitely be in touch.
Pleasure's all mine. Goodbye,
all right,
guys.
Goodbye. Have a good evening.
You too.